just track it back. So what was so I thought this, and then I thought that, and then I thought this, and then that's what. So to say I'm responsible for my thinking says it's not just that I can just immediately reprogram my brain to start thinking better, but what I can do is when I have a thought that I really don't want, when I have a thought that gives me feelings that are not of happiness, when I have a thought that is disturbing, that really not attractive, I can say no to that thought. I have the ability to say no. It's the old idea of denial. What I want to deny is I want to deny the power of these negative thoughts. I want to say, no, that's not the thought I want. I am going to think something else. And so we can have some thoughts that, like I've recommended this before. I used to carry the Course in Miracles lesson in my pocket on a piece of paper, and I would, if I started thinking crazy, I would pull it out and look at what the thing was for the day. And the lesson for the day was, God is with me. I live and move in Him. So if I just wrote that sentence down and put it in my pocket, and I started thinking goofy, I just take that out and read it, and that starts a whole other stream of thoughts. I don't even really have to do anything except read it, and it leads me now to thoughts that are much more uplifting and really thoughts that I want, that I really want to be having. So we can have a whole group of affirmations that we're comfortable with. And the thing is, we're not going to just be robots. But there's some ideas that I can say, look. First of all, I remind myself I am not, this material world is really not my home. And I can say to myself something like this: I am safe and sound at home right now. And when I say that to myself, I get a sense of, now you can use symbols for this and think about being in your most comfortable room at home, maybe with your feet up. Some music playing, whatever you do. I don't know what you do, but everybody's got their little place that they go. So I'm safe and sound at home right now. But that symbol, whatever that place is in your house, or maybe you go somewhere outdoors and you feel that feeling, that really is just a symbol for heaven. And once the mind starts making those connections, when we start thinking that the reason that I can be calm and at peace right now is that I'm at home in heaven. Even though it doesn't seem like it, there was just the siren that went by, that's real. That's what's really going on. And then the rest of the thinking starts to change and go along that path. So, and after doing that for a while, what we are actually accomplishing is we are dismantling the old belief system. Okay. The reason that I have negative thoughts about myself and others is because I have a belief system which tells me that I am inadequate. I can't stand that. I can't stand the thought of it. I can't stand it. It comes to my mind. It comes as a feeling. I don't like. So then, okay. So again, transference. I'm not going to be thinking about me being inadequate. I want to focus on you being inadequate. I want to focus on where it's your problem and your fault. And so, the belief system is telling me that really we are all defective. That's what the belief system is really, at its bottom line, it is telling me we are all defective, that we are all separate, that we are all alone, and this is the cause of all of the distressful thoughts that lead to bad feelings, which in turn lead either to unfortunate activity or being frozen in fear and not being able to do anything. So the answer to this is to change our thinking. And we change our thinking one thought at a time. It'd be very nice if we could go to the hypnotist and they would just do it for us and we would just change all of our thinking all at once. Some of them say they can actually do that. I haven't seen anybody do it yet, but that's not how it's going to work. We're going to do it one prayer at a time, one meditation at a time, one thought at a time, one affirmation at a time. And as we do it, it works on the conscious level. We start thinking differently in those thoughts that we are actually aware of. But what's going on that we don't see and that we don't really have awareness of is underneath the surface, every one of these positive thoughts is untying a knot in our belief system. So, and this is why over time, people who practice meditation on a regular basis, this is why they seem to grow spiritually over time. Because they do. They're actually growing spiritually by doing the work, by having this discipline. So, and finally, this is what it comes down to, is being responsible for life. Responsibility and fault are not the same thing. Being directly responsible, I have no problem whatsoever saying that I am responsible for my life. Where I am right now is a direct result of everything that I have thought, said, done, or left undone up until now. Because that's cause and effect. That's how it works. That's how the world is designed to work. We can think it's somebody else's fault. It was circumstances and events. It's not. But that doesn't mean we're at fault. That doesn't mean if we find ourselves in a bad situation that it's our fault. It just means we're responsible. And actually what we're the most responsible for is what we do next. What we do with it. So, we're not at fault. It's no one else's fault either. We can't blame parents, teachers, friends, enemies, or anyone else. It's not the government's fault. Fault leads to regret and resentment. It turns into a continual loop of guilt and shame, anger with no resolution. So now we want to change our thinking so that we no longer blame circumstances and events for our current reality. Yes, we don't deny the circumstance. We don't deny the event. We say, yes, that's what it is. Now, where's the good? What do we do next? What's the next thing? What's the next positive thing that we can do? God sees no fault. God sees no fault. This is not what, there's many churches all across the town and all across the country that are telling people they're sitting in their congregation this morning that God is seeing fault, that God's seeing every little bad thing. God just sees no fault. God sees you as his perfect child. We are the ones that see fault. So if we understand that God is loving us always, that we're the ones that are judging, we can change that. We can change that thought. So God sees no fault, neither should we, but we can take responsibility. We can know that we're totally responsible for our life. We can see clearly that every belief, thought, feeling, action is under our direct supervision. And the more we do it, the more we practice it, the more we stop going into denial about it, the more we will see that that's absolutely the truth. That we can change this. So at first it seems kind of fearful because, man, it's convenient. It's convenient to be able to blame the Republicans. It's easy to blame the Democrats. A couple of years ago I was just blaming Ralph Nader. So, but it's not fearful because it actually frees us. It actually gives us the freedom. If I say that I'm responsible for my life and then I get to decide what to do next, that means I'm totally free. I'm totally free. I do not have to rely on what you do or what anybody else does for my happiness. It's my responsibility to do with what I will. So, free to create the life we really want. So we're response-able. We have able response. And so we are able to decide for our life. We are able to see that we are directly responsible for our whole life. And we get to the point where we really wouldn't have it any other way. That's enough. Thank you.